This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So it's day 2 of the search for survivors after the 56 meter or 183 foot sailing yacht Bastian sank in Sicily yesterday morning. As we record this, there's still 6 people missing. Now, the one fatality is believed to be from the crew and is believed to be the chef, but we can't confirm that at this moment. And the list of people still missing is obviously the tech millionaire Mike Lynch and his daughter. He's the owner of the yacht. The president of Morgan Stanley was on board, Jonathan Bloomer, and his wife Anne. Chris Morvillo, a lawyer from the law firm Clifford Chance, who represented Mr. Lynch in a court case in the US, and his wife Nada is also missing. So those are the 6 people who are currently missing. Now, the divers who are attempting to reach and search the wrecked yacht, which lies about 50 meters down, about 164 feet, and the vessel is just 500 meters or 1,600 feet away from the actual port. Now, reports say that the divers have been able to reach the lounge of the yacht, but have yet to make it to the cabins where the people were when the yacht capsized and sank, it's believed, because it was at 5 o'clock in the morning. One report has said that the divers have been able to look through portholes from the outside of the vessel, and they can see the corpses of some of the people who are missing. Now, the search is hampered by the depth of the yacht being 50 meters, means that the divers need specialist equipment and have limited time on the wreck. Each dive has a maximum of just 12 minutes, a minute to get down there, 10 minutes on the wreck, and then a minute back up. They've actually brought in people from all over Italy, specialist divers, so they can, rotate in and out, so they can continue the search. Now, so far, no word from any of the crew that survived the sinking. As far as we know, the captain survived. I mean, like I said, we believe the one fatality is a crew member, but it was the chef. Therefore, the rest of the crew have survived. Be interesting to get some information from the captain or other members of the crew at some point. Now, based on reports from eyewitnesses, the yacht went down very quickly, a few minutes, they're saying. With that timeline, it would seem those who did survive barely had time to scramble to their feet and get to an open area of the vessel. The 15 survivors were rescued from an inflatable raft by the captain of a nearby sailing ship, which was also caught in that same storm. Now, some people have questioned how it was that they were able to get into the Liferaft, and yet others were still on board the vessel, suggesting that the crew, and more specifically the captain, should have been the last to leave the vessel. Yes, this is the tradition, and it is normally the way it goes. That's assuming that the captain has time to do all of those things. Like I said, I think the vessel went down very, very quickly. Also, other people say, well, they managed to launch a life raft. Well, this is not necessarily true. It's not necessarily what happened. An inflatable life raft has the ability to detach itself from a sinking vessel and self-inflate, and then sever its cord and float back to the surface. Each raft has something called a hydrostatic release mechanism attached to it. Once the vessel sinks to a certain depth, the hydrostatic release will cut through the line that's holding that canister in place, and it will release the payload. It will open because the gas canister inside will start to inflate and force the canister open, and then it will float to the surface. At this point, the people who may have been in the water can then scramble into the raft and wait for rescue. In actual fact, one of the things we train for in our survival training is actually righting an inverted life raft and then climbing into it. If we can't do that, we don't pass. Now, inside that life raft, there would have been certain survival equipment. The captain of the sailing yacht that rescued the survivors in the raft said he saw a flare, and that made him go to that raft. The inflatable life raft, amongst other items, would carry hand flares for this very situation. Other things that you might find in the life raft, I'll put a list on the screen, but some things are flashlights, mirrors, signal whistle, paddles, a topping up pump, you know, in case it didn't fully inflate, a sea anchor, survival kit, fishing kit, first aid kit, etc. And anti-seasickness tablets is another thing that you might find in seasickness bags as well. Now, there is a theory being floated, being put forward by mainstream media, including the BBC, that is saying that a lightning strike hit the vessel and snapped the mast, causing the yacht to capsize. However, there is an issue with that theory. In fact, we spoke to a sailing yacht expert, a former surveyor, and he told us that in actual fact, the mast snapping would actually improve the stability of the yacht. He said in days of old, when all else failed, sailing ships would intentionally cut away their mast to improve stability. So it's unlikely that the mast snapping would cause the vessel to capsize. Our expert has his own theory about what may have happened, but first we need to explain a design feature of this particular yacht, which is something called a lifting keel. A lifting keel is lowered hydraulically when under sail to increase stability of the yacht. The keel of this particular yacht, our expert believes, also contained most of the ballast or weight for stability. He said this really adds to sailing stability when the keel is down, but massively raises the center of gravity of the vessel when up. When the keel is in the open position, only the hull's form stability comes into play. This works up to a certain angle of heel or leaning when the vessel becomes as stable upside down as it is the right way up. He went on to say that this yacht had one of the tallest masts of any sailing vessel, and if there was a tornado, then the wind could well have blown against the rig, the mast, sideways to her anchor position. This would have heeled her over dramatically, leaned her over, and with the keel up and limited stability as they were close to shore, she goes over on her beam ends. Probably hatches and ports, etc. may have been open, and down she goes. So that's his theory. The keel on the vessel in the up position, the draft of the vessel, sorry, is 4 meters, we believe. And with the keel down, it's almost 10 meters, so double. Like I said, also when the keel has a lot of weight in it for the stability of the yacht. So when it's down, it's very stable. When it's up, not so much. So once the search and rescue operation is completed, they certainly should be looking at the position of the keel, whether it's in the up or down position. Now, one thing that you might be thinking is what would it have been like for the people as the yacht either rolled over or started to sink? Well, obviously I've never been on a vessel that has sunk, so I can't say for certain, but what I can tell you is that even the experienced crew members who know the vessel intimately, you know, they live on board, the vessel suddenly rolling over to 90 or 180 degrees, it will put you in a different world. Everything you know about the vessel is now literally upside down. The doorways are on the ceiling. You know, everything that's not bolted down is now in a pile on what was the deckhead, the ceiling. You know, it's a completely different environment. Even when you work on a yacht long term, when they close the watertight doors or the fire screen doors for tests, you can get disorientated because you're not accustomed to having those doors closed, and it makes the vessel look very different. So I can only imagine what it would have been like for the people. And remember, the people who were missing were all guests, so they didn't know the vessel like the crew did. Also, it's probable that the vessel was in complete darkness because obviously the equipment stops working once it's submerged in water. All right, we've got a couple of corrections from the previous video. The vessel was previously named or originally named Salute when delivered in 2008. And obviously in the previous video, I said Sardinia when I meant Sicily. For those who were very critical in the comments, most people just said that, you know, FYI, you said Sardinia. But there were some very critical comments. Just wanted to point out that there was a map on the screen showing the exact area. So it was just obviously something that I said, which I got mixed up with the two places, which I've been to many times over the years. Now, one other thing you might be asking about a VDR, voyage data recorder, like they have on aircraft. Many yachts have these things. Unfortunately for this vessel, it's probable that it does not have one. The requirement for a VDR is 3,000 gross tons. That's when you move up to that level, that's a requirement. Most things to do with safety, unfortunately, when vessels are built, are based on requirements and not on what you should have. You know, in my opinion, every vessel that carries passengers or carries guests should have a VDR. But this vessel, only being 470-ish gross tons, most likely will not have one. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you've got any further information for us, got any video, photos, anything like that, or any, like I said, any information, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us in that email address in the ticker. That's our preferred way to be contacted. It saves us having to search through 15 different social media accounts, but we do have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So anyway, please be sure to like the video just to help with the algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.